Hi there, BookTube! Welcome to Novel Niche. My name is Christina, and today I'm here to go through the books that I hope to read during these winter months. And by winter months, I'm speaking about January and February. I don't know exactly when I will put out this video. Probably it will be already too late, and I believe that some of these books I would have already, I hope, finger crossed, I will have already read completely, finished them. So let me get to the titles because they are quite a bunch, and I hope again to read them in 2 months. I will never finish them all, but I will try my best. These are generally the books that I would love the idea of reading in winter, and I will see how it will end. So let's start with my physical books. As far as physical books are concerned, I would love to read Sisters of Winterwood, and this is a fantasy. It is told from a dual perspective of 2 sisters. One sister kind of is written as a normal novel, and the other sister speaks as if it's a poem. So it's an alternation of regular content and content in verses. So that will be a unique experience, and I believe that it's set somewhere. It's fantasy, but it still has a historical setting, like in between Ukraine and Moldova, I believe, somewhere there. So that's the place where my next read will probably be set. And I guess that they will discover at a certain point that they are able to transform into a bear and a swan, I believe, deducing from the cover pretty much, but we will see if I'm correct. The next book that I have is 10,000 Doors of January. This is the book that I bought most recently, just for the end of the year, and the reason why it's here is because it has January in the title, and from what I know, it's a magical realism / fantasy story. It's more like a portal fantasy in which we're following our main protagonist January, who discovers magical doors to go other places, and that's the only thing I know about this book, except for the fact that it has a very literally beautiful and kind of flowery way of being written and told as a story. So the author is really great at that, apparently, and I will see if I enjoy it. Then the next one that I have is Fairy Oak, the last book of Fairy Oak, La Storia Perduta. It's an Italian series, and this is the last book that's been published. I don't know if it will finally completely conclude the adventures of the gang of friends that we're following here, but it is a fantasy, a middle grade one, a children's middle grade one, in which we're following 2 main protagonists. They are 2 twin sisters, and they're just lovely and amazing. They're magical. One has the magic of light, the other has the magic of darkness, and they have amazing friends. They live in this cozy little village, and it's just lovely, makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and I can't wait to read it. Next book that I would love to read is Le Memorie di Babel, and this is the 3rd book in A Winter's Promise or La Passe Miroir, Le Fiancé de l'Hiver, that series written by Christelle Debo. And this is a book that I have to give back to my friends, so I really wish to read it during these months. It's the 3rd book, so the story is a fantasy that is set on an earth that has kind of exploded, and there are these islands that are kind of traveling through air and moving around, and each island has a different climate, has a different political setting, and we're following 2 people from 2 different islands that are kind of forced to become promised to each other, so they are fiancés, and things happen. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but she has some magical powers, like traveling through mirrors or talking to objects, and I just want to see where the story will go from the point where I left it on the 2nd book, in the middle or at the beginning of last year. Then I have one more series with which I would love to go on, and it's Girl in the Tower. You've already seen this book on my previous TBR, the one that I hope to get through in December, but I wasn't able to. So that's the second one of the sequel of Bear and the Nightingale. It's a Russian folklore-like fairy tale fantasy, and here we're following our main protagonist Vasya, who is a girl who's able to see some of the creatures from the folklore of Russia, and she has to kind of find her way and become an adult, traveling during this time of clash of the old religion with the new religion, which is Christianity. So it's a very interesting setting. It's in Russia, it's very cold, so it's just perfect for winter, and I would love to read it during these months. Again, one more book that is set in winter that I would love to read, but maybe I will end up reading it more like in December of next year, is The Green Glass House. It's a middle grade, again, a book that I just recently bought, and it is set in winter in a house that kind of works like an hotel, I believe, and we're following a boy, and some mystery starts happening with some guests at the hotel, so I would love to read it. I think that it will be pretty funny and mysterious and adventurous, but I don't know, realistically speaking, if I will be able to get to it by the end of February. And the last one is a book that I owned for quite a lot of time, and it's very well loved here on BookTube, so I won't talk about it that much, and it's Uprooted by Naomi Novik, because I've never read a book by Naomi Novik. I know. So this seemed like something that I may read in winter just due to the cover, for whatever reason, so I will give it a chance. Next, let's get to the ebooks that I have on my list, and I really make it a point this year to try and read more ebooks, because I own a bunch, more than a bunch, like many bunches probably. But the first one that I have here is Coldest Girl in Cold Town, because the reiteration of cold makes me think about winter, and I started listening or reading the first few chapters, and it's a YA vampire-like story, I believe, but the vampires that are a little bit strange, and I remember not hating it at the beginning, even if it was already angsty, but who knows, maybe I will go through it. Next is a book that I have on my TBR like for the second year at this point, and it's Winter House, and it's a middle grade, I believe, again a middle grade mystery probably, and I don't remember the synopsis right now, but it's been here for 2 years, maybe sooner or later. Then I have Station 11. Station 11 is a very well-loved book here on BookTube, and I've owned it for quite a long time, but I've never read it. And the reason why I'm going towards it right now is that apparently the setting is like a post-apocalyptic one, but it's still kind of heartwarming from what I remember from many reviews. So for whatever reason, it seems like a good moment in life and like generally in the world to read something like that, because why not at this point? Then I have Snow and Rose, which is a middle grade, I believe, and it's an illustrated one too. It's very beautiful. It's been on my TBRs previously, but I've not got to it yet, and I would really love to. And of course it's here because Snow and Rose, so winter. And then I have Echo North, and I own the ebook. And if you ask me what it's about, I haven't the foggiest idea because I've owned it for a while and I don't even remember why, when I got it, why, what happened, and this needs to stop. That's the problem that I have with ebooks. When I have them like very discounted, I just tend to buy them, and then I don't even have the time to hype them up in my mind, and I don't like it. I really would love to remember everything about the books that I own, and I will read it and discover pretty much. I know that sounds horrible, but then the audiobooks. With the audiobooks, I'm more sure that I will be able to listen to them because I listen to audiobooks very often in the evenings while I'm commuting and things like that, so it's much easier. The first one that I have is I'll Be There For You, and it's a non-fiction book about France, the sitcom comedy, the American one, and I just finished with my boyfriend at the end of 2020 to rewatch the whole series, all of the series, and it was such a blast. It was funny, it was lighthearted, and it was much needed. And we watched it all, like binge watched it, because by the end of December it was removed from Netflix, so we wanted to finish it, so we watched only that the whole day, all of the days, so they feel like family at this point, really. And I just want to listen to a book that kind of deals with what happened behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it seems something that, like, a book that I may enjoy listening to. Then the next one is a book that's very well beloved here on BookTube, and it's The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is a murder mystery, I believe, with a bit of magical realism or sci-fi in it. I'm not sure. I believe that it was described something like that. And here we are following our main protagonist, who is someone who every day wakes up in a different body, and he relives the same day over and over, trying to discover who is the murderer. And it's fascinating. And around autumn and winter, I really feel like these more dark stories and with cold ones are just perfect for the season. So I will try and listen to it probably in Italian, because I have it as an audiobook in Italian. Then I have a fantasy that I owned for a while, but I've not yet got to, and it's The Crown's Game, I believe. And this is the first in a duology. Yeah, it's a duology. For now. At this point, nobody knows anything. Like, there are sequels to sequels to sequels coming for everything, so who knows at this point. But this one is here because it is set in Russia, kinda. It's a fantasy, so I don't know if it's realistically set in Russia or it's an idea of Russia. But still, I would love to listen to it and see if I enjoy it, and see if I will have the desire to go on and listen or read the second one. It's, I believe, about 2 contestants in a magical contest in order to become the Tsar's magician. I think something like that, but I will know more when I will listen to it. Then, since I'm in that kind of murder mystery thingy kind of atmosphere and mood, I will probably try and listen to something of the Hercule Poirot stories or Lupin stories, one of the two, in Italian. And I believe that this is it. These are all of the books that I have on this huge list. I don't know if I will read them. Let me know down below if you've read them or you're wanting to read them. And yeah, I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye! Ciao!